Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is Week 6 wide receiver start or sit decisions for every single matchup from Week 6. Now, before I get into this video, I'd like to ask if you guys could please go down below and click that subscribe button, because not only does it help me, it's also going to help you guys dominate your fantasy football season. I'd also like to give you guys a word from my sponsor, Overlay DFS. Are you tired of having to pick the perfect player at every single position in order to win on salary cap DFS? Are you tired of having your salary cap lineup out of the running to win that money in the first 5 minutes of the games? Does playing salary cap DFS feel like a job and not even a game? Want a fantasy game where pros with 150 lineups and computer-generated programs can't dominate? OverlayDFS.com has a new revolutionary start-sit game for fantasy sports. They're the home of the single-entry GPP. How do you play? Like I said, it's a simple start-sit format. You make 12 start-sit decisions from the 30-plus matchups presented, like you can see on my screen right now for Week 6. A win, loss, or tie will be awarded to your overall record for each decision you make. Records in the top 10% of users win 9 times your buy-in. 12-0 records win GTD progressive bonus. All matchups are player versus player who will have the most total fantasy points. Usually 8-4 records are good enough to get that cash. Sometimes 7-5. Other times 9-3, depending on the week. You make 12 picks in the matchups options listed. For example, for week 6, it could be Pat Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield versus Andy Dalton, Dalvin Cook versus Alvin Kamara, and many, many more. The object is to stay consistent and finish in the top 10% of the field to win 9 times your buy-in until the stars align and you go that beautiful 12-0. Right now, if you go a perfect 12-0 in the $109 game, you'll win the progressive bonus of over $26,000. They have buy-ins at all levels. If no one hits the perfect 12-0 record of the progressive bonus, keeps growing and growing and growing until it gets hit. It's like the super contest, but for DFS. Don't get shut out. Visit www.overlaydfs.com today. And we are Bike. I really enjoyed playing on that website. You guys should come join me. Link down below in the description. Week 6 wide receivers start or sit decisions. First game to talk about here is the Thursday night football game, Giants at Patriots. Now, I am going to be starting Golden Tate in this game. Sterling Shepard out, Evan Ingram out, Saquon Barkley out. It is going to be a bad game for the Giants, but I still think Golden Tate being the only wide receiver out there, Danny Dimes can find him enough to make him worth a start this week. Now, on the Patriots side of the ball, I do like Julian Edelman in this game. Now, Julian Edelman and Flash Gordon have not looked too hot. Flash Gordon is very inconsistent, but I still think you can start both of them this week in a really good matchup against the Giants defense that has not looked all that good. Now, you're going to be sitting Sterling Shepard due to the fact that he's hurt, as well as Philip Dorsett being hurt. If Philip Dorsett was in this game, I would be more worried about Julian Edelman or Flash Gordon, but I think with Philip Dorsett out, that definitely elevates their game, and I think they will be able to perform more up to my expectations this week against the Giants. Next game here is the Panthers at the Buccaneers, the 9 a.m. England game in London. Who really wants to watch this game? But you all know we're all fiends over here. We're going to be waking up early in the morning to watch this one. Panthers at Buccaneers. It's not even at Buccaneers, it's at London. But we're going to be starting DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel of the Panthers. Now, right now, it's up in the air if Mr. Cam Newton is going to play or not. Some people are saying maybe Cam Newton will play. Personally, I think it's going to be Kyle Allen. And either way, I'd actually prefer Kyle Allen because I think he is fine. And I think that DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are definitely guys that he likes throwing the ball to. Now, he teams to like Curtis Samuel slightly more. DJ Moore hasn't been getting too many targets, but DJ Moore is definitely a downfield threat, a guy that can just catch the ball 3 times and end up scoring a touchdown. So I do like DJ Moore this week as well as Curtis Samuels. Now, last week, the Buccaneers kind of had a bad game, but I think this week against the Panthers, they have a bounce-back game. Mike Evans put up a 0, a goose egg last week. I think this week, he obviously doesn't score 0 points, around the 15-point range. I think he should be good to go. A lot of people are going to be panicking off of him. I would not panic. Chris Godwin, on the other hand, literally a god every single game. He destroys your fantasy football matchup. He wins it for you by himself. He is that good of a player. I'm very confident in him this week against the Panthers. Next game to talk about here is the Redskins at the Miami Dolphins. Now, these are two terrible teams playing each other, two of the worst teams in the NFL, likely teams competing to get that number 1 pick and select Mr. Tua. And I'm going to be starting Scary Terry Terry McLaurin in this game of the Redskins. Obviously, he is their number one target. Last week, he kind of got locked up there playing against a harder defense. This week, he's up against the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense is terrible. I think Scary Terry is going to eat in this game, have a monster week. Next, we are going to talk about Preston Williams of the Dolphins. He is also a start. He is Josh Rosen's comfort blanket. He is his thunder buddy, all right? Preston Williams is going to be getting a lot of targets in this game, seeing a lot of work, and against a Redskins defense that hasn't looked all that great. I think Preston Williams can flourish in this matchup. Now, we are going to be seeing down Devontae Parker and Paul Richardson. Paul Richardson was a guy I tried to start 2 weeks ago. I tried to get sneaky. I tried to get too fucking fancy. You don't want to be starting Paul Richardson. Devontae Parker is a sorry wide receiver. You want nothing to do with him. Next game, here's the Saints at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew and friends versus Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I'm going to be starting up Michael Thomas in this game. That should be pretty obvious to you. Last week, he had a monster big week, 40 plus points in PPR formats, absolute domination from him and Teddy B. I think this week, obviously, we're not going to see a 40-point game against the Jaguars defense, but Jalen Ramsey may not play, and Michael Thomas will obviously have a fantastic game in that situation. Now, DJ Shark is a shark. Is it not a start for me? He is a start for me this week. I really do like DJ Shark every single week. He is clearly Gardner Minshew's favorite target. Gardner Minshew loves throwing the ball DJ Shark's way. DJ Shark is going to probably be ranked inside of my top 12, top 15 rankings this week. He is just phenomenal. He is always finishing above where I have him ranked, and he's a most definite start this week against the Saints. Now, we are going to be sitting down Ted Ginn from the Saints, and we're going to be sitting down all the other Jaguars wide receivers like Chris Connolly and D.D. Westbrook. Now, D.D. Westbrook, if you are in quite the pickle, I believe you could start, but I wouldn't even consider him a high echelon start. I'd much rather play Preston Williams over D.D. Westbrook. Next game to talk about here is the Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we're going to be starting up Tyler, Boyd, going up against the Ravens. Now, Tyler Boyd absolutely had a fantastic game last week. I think this week, well, last week they were playing the Cardinals, so it's an easier matchup. This week against the Ravens going to be a bit tougher for Mr. Tyler Boyd, but I still think he's a safe option. He's clearly Andy Dalton's number one guy while A.J. Green is gone. A.J. Green is not going to play this week. Likely, probably not next week either. Now, I think you can start Auden Tate as well, but he is the next to him because I don't necessarily love it. Auden Tate last week had a good game. He scored a touchdown. Yeah, this, that, and the other thing. He had a good game. But John Ross is still gone. But what you do have to worry about is the fact that the Ravens defense is still pretty good and obviously much better than the Arizona Cardinals. But I still think he's okay enough to warrant a start. And we're also going to be starting Hollywood Brown. Now, Hollywood Brown dealt with an injury in the game last week. He ended up coming back onto the field. I think he's going to be fine against the Bengals, who are a terrible defense. He should be able to find his way into the end zone as long as he is healthy. Next game to talk about here is the Seahawks at the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Browns look atrocious. Baker Mayfield looks terrible. You may have to throw him out the goddamn window. You may have to cut him straight off of your fantasy football team. But I'm going to be starting Tyler Lockett for the Seattle Seahawks in this game. Tyler Lockett has been tremendous. You saw that touchdown last week on Thursday night. 2 toes, 2 feet, touching down in the end zone. Looked beautiful. Catch of the year as of right now. And I just love him every single week. He's such a comfortable guy to start. The Browns defense doesn't look all that good. They got torn apart by the 49ers. I think that easily Tyler Lockett should be in for a pretty big game. DK Metcalf as well. Obviously, he's not a guy that you're going to be starting as your wide receiver one, but he's a solid flex option. OBJ gets the next to him because I don't necessarily love starting him this week against the Browns. Now, the thing you have to determine is, do you like OBJ over other guys that are potential wide receiver twos? That's how you're going to have to determine if you want to start him or not. I don't necessarily hate him this week. I think he's in for a bounce back. He played terrible last week, so there's no way he could do any worse. But I do think that it is kind of nerve-wracking playing him, especially when the Browns look this trash. Now, I'm going to be sitting down Jarvis as well. Now, Jarvis did end up looking okay last week, but I don't really want anything to do with this Browns offense right now besides Nick Chubb. Next game to talk about here is the Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I'm going to be starting Alshon Jeffrey for the Eagles in this game. Alshon Jeffrey has looked good. It seems like Mr. Carson Wentz loves throwing the ball his way, so I see no reason not to start him pretty much every single week. Now, Adam Thielen for the Vikings. It could get a bit testy here this week. The Eagles' defense is okay. They're not terrible. I do think Adam Thielen is Kirk Cousins' favorite target. It's clearly not Stephon Diggs, and I think Adam Thielen will get enough work in the passing game, catch enough balls, potentially hop into the end zone to be worthy of a start. Now, we're going to be sitting Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar has feet for hands. I don't believe Deshaun Jackson is back, and even if he was back, I would be hesitant to start him now. For the Vikings, I'm also going to be sitting down Stephon Diggs because I do not trust him. It seems like he wants out of there. It seems like he wants to hop onto a plane right now, take a one-way plane all the way straight off out of Minnesota, out of wherever he lives. He needs to get the fuck out of there because the Vikings just don't seem to be his home. He was asked, "Do you still want to be in Minnesota?" And he hit us with a fucking wink. He winked straight at us into the camera like it was an episode of The Office and his name was Jim Halpert. But I don't know if I want Stefon Diggs, and I definitely don't want to start him this week. Next game to talk about is the Texans at the Chiefs. Should be a pretty high-scoring matchup. Will Fuller last week tore it apart, looked amazing, eviscerated the defense, scored 50 plus points in my PPR league. Look great. Now, I do like Will Fuller this week as well. Now, I don't expect him to score 50 plus points again. I don't expect him to have a tremendous game, but what I do know is that he is in for a pretty good game against the Chiefs defense that doesn't look all that hot. Last week, we saw the Kansas City Chiefs get ran through by Jacoby Brissett and Marlon Mack. They just ran the ball, hammered the ball down their throat. I think that the Texans really can't do that because they don't have that good of a back in Carlos Hyde, so I think they are going to be looking to throw the ball, and Will Fuller should be fine. Now, DeAndre Hopkins has not been getting a lot of work, a lot of looks, but I think this week that could change. I think it's impossible to sit a guy that you know is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Now, for the Chiefs side of the ball, I am going to be starting Tyreek Hill if he is healthy. Now, that is a big if. If he's healthy, he's been practicing, he may be good to go. If he's good to go, I play him. But if he's good to go, I'm not too comfortable starting D-Rob or Mecole Hardman if Tyreek Hill is in. If Tyreek Hill is out, I would start either Demarcus Robinson or Mecole Hardman. I think you're chasing points if you're going to be starting Byron Pringle this week. Sit him down. Next game to talk about here is the Falcons at the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray and friends versus Matt Ryan and friends. Now, I am going to be starting up Julio Jones in this game. Julio Jones on the injury report. He should be good to go for this matchup on Sunday. I'm very confident in him. He's the guy that I'm most confident in on the Falcons at the wide receiver position. Calvin Ridley's got the because, we saw him really disappoint, and then he came out last week and had played a pretty decent game. But even though the Cardinals defense is god awful, I don't necessarily know if Calvin Ridley is going to get the work. I feel a lot safer with the guy like Mohamed Sanu, who is Matt Ryan's safety blanket. Matt Ryan is going to look his way multiple times a game, 6-7 times a game, and he's going to have a solid PPR game, 6 for 50, 6 for 60, and you have a solid game out of Mohamed Sanu in a PPR format. Now, Larry Fitz is going to be good to go for me for the Cardinals. I am going to start him. He seems like Kyler Murray's favorite target while Christian Kirk is out. It seems like Christian Kirk will not play. That's why he is a sit. It seems like they're going to just hold him out until they know he's 100%. Now, before I get into the next matchup, make sure you guys do click that subscribe button down below. It's really going to help me a lot. Let's get into the next game here. Next game is the 49ers at the LA Rams. Oh, I clicked one too far. Now, the 49ers are going to be trying to go that beautiful 5-0. Now, they had a bye week 4, so right now they are 4-0, but I really think they're a bunch of frauds and phonies. I think that the 49ers are going to get their ass whooped up in this game, and I think it's going to go by the hands of Mr. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has been playing phenomenal. He's obviously the Rams wide receiver to own. He is the Rams wide receiver that is going to tear apart the 49ers defense and make Richard Sherman look like a fool. Cooper Kupp is no sorry-ass wide receiver like Michael Crabtree. Now, Brandon Cooks, if he's healthy, I am going to play him. If he is not healthy, if he's out, obviously, you're not going to play him. Now, if he's out, Robert Woods goes from an to a hell yeah, let's go, because then I think that Jared Goff will be looking his way a lot more. But if Brandon Cooks is in, Robert Woods gets the because I don't necessarily know how many looks he's going to get in this game. Now, I'm going to be sitting down all 49ers receivers, Deebo Samuel, Dante Pettis. It doesn't seem like any of them are going to be able to get it done. It seems like this is just going to be a game where Jimmy G dumps it off to either one of his running backs, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, or just throws it to George Kittle, or they just run the ball down the Rams' throat. Next game here is the Titans at the Denver Broncos. Now, I'm going to be starting Emmanuel Sanders and Courtland Sutton of the Broncos in this game. They seem to be the two safest options on the team. Courtland Sutton seems like the touchdown guy. Emmanuel Sanders seems like the guy short yardage situations and the guy that Joe Flacco really does trust. I like both of them this week against the Titans, even though the Titans have a pretty solid defense. Now, I'm going to be sitting down all Titans wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. They are both sorry-ass wide receivers. Corey Davis especially, I can't stand that guy. A.J. Brown is like an okay wide receiver. He may score you 10 or 9 points, but you don't really want to start him against the Broncos. Next game here is the Cowboys at the New York Football Jets. I'm going to be starting up Amari Cooper for the Cowboys. Obviously, Amari Cooper has been tearing it up. 200 plus yards last week, looked amazing. Now, Michael Gallup, on the other hand, also looks great. He seems like Dak Prescott's second favorite look there, a 1A, 1B type situation. It's not like where On the Rams, I thought it was going to be a 1A, 1B, 1C. No, in reality, it's just Cooper Kupp is the 1, and then the other 2 are 2A and 2B. Right now, it seems like Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup both are going to see a lot of looks that makes them the 1A, and the 1B, the look for Dak Prescott. Now, Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder get the and. Because Mono Boy Sam is going to be playing, Sam Darnold is going to be good to go to play this game. Now, Sam Darnold does love targeting Jamison Crowder. We saw in that Week 1 matchup, Jamison Crowder was getting peppered with the targets like he's Salt Bay. Right there, dripping them all straight onto Jamison Crowder. And Robbie Anderson didn't have all that good of a game. But I think that if you're in a tough situation, I would be willing to start these guys, but don't expect Week 1 points from them. Expect Sam Darnold to have some regression. He's going to be rusty, but I think in a couple of weeks, Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder are going to be every week starts for your fantasy team. Next game here is the Steelers at the LA Chargers. Now, I'm going to be starting Juju Smith-Schuster in this game. Now, they are with their backup quarterback. Now, I don't know if Mason Rudolph is going to play. He got his lights knocked out of him. He looked like he may have died on the field. I mean, I hope he's okay. He does seem to be okay because he's practicing. Thanks to the fantasy gods, he's okay. But I am not in love with starting Juju this week, but he is obviously a start because you know his talent. Now, on the Chargers, I love Keenan Allen this week against the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense hasn't looked all that great. Keenan Allen looks amazing and looks like a guy you definitely need in your lineup every single week. Now, Mike Williams, on the other hand, he's got the he's been dealing with injuries. All that doesn't seem to be getting too many looks. Seems like all the other guys, Inman, all these other guys on the team are getting the looks. But, I mean, if you're in a sticky situation, I would start Mike Williams. But we're to be sitting down Deontay Johnson. It seemed like he was a 2-week wonder. I don't want anything to do with him, especially if they're with their third string quarterback this week. And the final Monday Night Football game, we have the Lions at the Green Bay Packers. Now, we are going to be starting both Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones out of the Lions team. Kenny Golladay obviously feasted 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs. I think Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones are both in for a good game here. Now, I do think that the Packers defense is good, and they may end up struggling, but I think at the end of the day, Matt Stafford's going to throw the ball to them so many times that they're going to definitely have their fantasy worth and be worth a start this week. Now, for the Packers, Davante Adams, if he's healthy, I'm throwing him in the lineup. Now, his game is on Monday, so we probably won't know until maybe Monday. It might be a Monday designation for if he's good to go or not, so if you have other options, I would maybe advise starting them over Davante Adams. If we get closer to Sunday and we see, oh, Davante Adams is good to go, then you could definitely make that move and play Davante Adams. Now, MVS and Geronimo Allison are only used if Mr. Davante Adams is out. If Davante Adams is in, I don't want anything to do with either of these guys. I mean, MVS you could probably go with, but even then, don't want anything to do with either of them if Davante Adams is in the game. So that brings up this video. It is all over now. Wide receiver start or sits. If you got any questions, leave them down below in the comments. I make sure to read all the comments. I always answer. Make sure you have a great rest of your day. I know you will. I love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow with some more videos. Goodbye.